Loud. Okay, awesome. Rock and roll. Good afternoon and good morning and good night. It's great to see everyone. It's way too dangerous for wine drinking, Alexis. Exactly. Don't do that. Like, why would you willingly do that? So, hello, my name is Siobhán. I am so happy to be here with you all today. I am Edge Studios' social media and community liaison, human of your hour, really, for the next hour here. We've been hosting these AMAs. We've had almost 30 sessions. It's really incredible. And David and I just have a great time getting to know you all. So if you don't know David, he's to my Zoom left. Hello, David. Good morning and afternoon.
Hey, Siobhán. You're still in California, right? Is that correct? Okay. Siobhán is always back and forth between coasts, New York and California, so it's hard to know where she is. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, Siobhán, this is the 30 which time?
This is
our
the
30th?
29th.
Oh, 29th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So we should do something extra special next time to mark 30.
Yeah, you know what? And we've got our coach Jen Sims at our next session, and she's
awesome.
And a bit of a ham, just like some people, So you're right. We should do a thing. I don't know what that is. You'll have to come and see it.
What's like a 30-year anniversary? That's not the gold year or platinum. What is 30? Does anyone know? Certainly we could look it up online, but
I don't know. And like no one here is even 30 years old. So like we don't even no one knows. Hey Dina, outside of your booth. Hello, great to see you. David, thanks for being with us and spending your time so dutifully throughout the roaring 20s. That's what I call them. I'm just trying to make it a party. It's hard. It's a hard task to make the 20s a party, but here we go. This is what we're doing. So 23 is silver. Just hit that. Carla, that's fabulous. And Pearl is the 30th anniversary tradition.
Oh, Pearl, wow.
Oh, okay.
So we'll give some pearls of wisdom or something like that. We'll come up with something, guys. Siobhán, your job is to come up with something. Actually, no, I throw this out to everyone on the call. There are not too many people yet, about 60 people. If anyone has any special ideas for our next Ask Me Anything, it has to be something reasonable. It has to be something about voiceover. It has to be something that still would provide some usefulness for everyone on the call. So it might just be a 30-second little thing we do or something short or some focus. And it has to be something that we feel is right for everyone. But if you have any ideas, let us know. Something special for 30. Wow, we never did that for 25.
We didn't do it for 25, but
or 20.
But
it's never done it.
We just keep going and
so this should be really like 30 plus 29 plus 28. Isn't that called factorial, right? You figure out how many iterations there are of something. So this is like for what do you do for 3,752,000 Ask Me Anythings? I'm getting way off track here, guys. Forgive me. Let's bring it back to voiceover. Siobhán, take it away. Sorry.
This is what happens, when you do these 29 times is we can just go off into the right brain of ourselves, which I really struggle with personally. Welcome everyone. If you've just popped in, welcome to our Ask Me Anything session. Today, it's me and David, your pals from the internet at this point, really. And so the way this works, if this is your first time or you just want to hear me do my little spiel, we love to use the chat. Everyone is muted to avert chaos from ensuing amongst us all. And in the chat, you can just give us any questions at all regarding voiceover. I will kick them over to David. I will try to get to everyone. If I feel that we've kind of already answered your particular question, or if you're asking a ton of questions, I might skip over some of your stuff to try to get to more people, or to get a range of questions to try to reach enough people today. But that's how it's going to work. You can also just, just hang out in the chat. You can give people compliments. You can also, I like compliments. You can also, tell us where you're calling from. I know we tend to have some internationals, and it really makes us feel great to know that you're hanging out in Singapore at 3 a.m. to be with us. We that makes us feel special. So yes, what's up, Vancouver? Jimmy, the recording will be made available. It's on my schedule to go out on Saturday. So and it'll be on the socials. So if you follow us on social media, that's where you can find it. You can also follow our YouTube channel. Here at Edge Studio, we do a lot of fun things, including, actually, here we go. I love doing this, pitching myself. It's like, this is what we're all trained to do, right? If you are new to social media and understanding what all of that means, or actually not new to it, but trying to do a better job with it, I am teaching a social media for voice actors class in May. Here is the link to that. It's going to be super fun, 90 minutes with me, rock and roll. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about Clubhouse. We're going to talk about Twitter, TikTok. I'm going to do it and I'm going to take care of y'all. And it's going to be super fun. Additionally, you probably know him. You love him. He's charming. He's a gent. He teaches EQ and compression on May 25th. So for my home studio, anxiety-ridden folks, or not anxiety-ridden, but wanting to really master your sense of EQ and compression, Art is your guy. He is a doll to work with. So those are our upcoming special classes. And additionally, you ought to know, many of you probably do know, but we offer a $25 off coaching code for being here with us at Ask Me Anything. And you just use this code AMA to work with any coach at all at our studio, and this other specific link here to work with David one-on-one. We do love some one-on-one time, even virtually. As always, we're always offering as much as we possibly can, free services and opportunities for everybody here. So if you haven't checked out our free resource center, we've got a lot going on there. Your rate cards, your, like ability to practice with everybody. Oh my gosh, that's blanking on what that's called, David. What's the thing where you get to practice with other people?
Practice. Oh, the feedback forum.
The feedback forum. See, okay, here we go. We're such a good team. So your feedback forum is there at the resource center as well. So with that being said, thank you for joining us today. We're going to hang out for the next hour and just talk shop, as it were, and not, I don't know what's beyond that. 73. Okay, welcome. Oscars. I can't help you with the Oscars. I don't know anything. I haven't seen enough movies. I got to watch the octopus movie, though. I got to see it. So, yes, Liliana, Sparkles, for you. They're for you in particular. Okay, so welcome. Oh my gosh, Charles, you are so kind. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I am your pearl. I'll do it. I will be that 30-second message for the 30th. Oh, that's a fun exercise. 30-second answers. I like that a lot. So, and everyone's mic gets unmuted for 30 seconds. Hilarious. Ooh, I actually have some ideas regarding that too. 30 tips to build your voiceover business. David loves a list like that. Don't you, David?
I do very much. Once you said that a minute ago, I was thinking just about that. Yeah. 30 marketing ideas, 30 tips. Yeah.
David and a list that's a happy place for David Goldberg. I'm
very
just
happy place.
Okay, so
would you like me to list the reasons why? Okay.
That's going to be his podcast, The Reasons for the Reasons. Welcome, Kelsey, for it being your first time. Here we go. Okay, we got Sheila asking about setting hourly rates for audiobooks for beginners. We talked a lot with Johnny about audiobooks and the time that it takes to do them. So David, do you want to kind of just do a little cursory chat about that, about rates for audiobooks when you're new to this industry?
Yeah, of course. And when Siobhán just mentioned that we spoke with Johnny about this, or that Johnny talked about this, she's referring to Johnny Heller, who is an amazing audiobook narrator, one of the best in the world, the best in the world, perhaps. Has won multiple awards. He is a coach, an audiobook coach and commercial coach at Edge. And he joined us, it was, 2 Ask Me Anythings ago? Or whatever it was. So yeah, hourly rates for audiobooks. I will make this brief, but let me first say that I think in so many ways, audiobook narration is a terrific, really terrific opportunity for voice actors. And the ultimate hourly pay is generally much lower than other forms of voiceover. But I think very often you can, at the end of the year, bring in more income. let me talk about this disparity. So I've heard a lot of voice actors over the years say, oh, I won't get involved in audiobooks. They don't pay that much per hour. But it's a volume job, guys. It's a volume job, right? So if you narrate commercials, one commercial, you work for 30 seconds. Maybe if it's a union spot or a national spot, or their residuals, or they buy you out in perpetuity, you could bring in a couple grand easily. And that's amazing. But to get that 30-second commercial, you may pull off hundreds and hundreds of auditions. I'm not saying that in any way to dismay you from attempting to get into the commercial world, because you can be lucrative, you can make money. But at the same time, it generally is easier to get an audiobook. And where you may only make $100 or $200 an hour, every time you're given a book, which we call a title, every time you're given a title by a production company, if it's an average 10 and a half hour long book and you're making 100, let's say 150 an hour, you're pulling in $1,500. And you can narrate a lot of books and you can turn out some good money. And you know what? Even if you're only making $100 per completed hour or $200 per completed hour of audiobook, that's more than just about everyone else you know in the world. Most people do not make 100 or 200 bucks an hour. The other thing I'll say, just keeping it brief, is that when you talk about the rates that audiobook narrators are paid, usually they are paid by a completed hour of work. That means that the publishing company will hire you and say, look, the book is 1 hour long, so we're paying you X number of dollars, let's say $200. Well, the audiobook publishing company doesn't care how long it takes you to complete that hour of audio. If you read the script cold and it comes out perfectly, like you don't make a single stumble and you're done in 1 hour, well, then you've made all that money in 1 hour. Conversely, I guess the other end of the spectrum would be a voice actor who wants to read the manuscript a couple of times, has to look up words for pronunciation, reads the book, records it again, then re-records it, then messes up and stumbles and has lots of edits, and it takes you 5 hours to complete that book. You still get the same rate. You're paid by the project, by the completed hour. Okay. And so the more efficient of a voice actor you are, the ultimately the more money you're bringing in an hour. Does that make sense, everyone? Hope so. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Nothing. Yeah, thumbs up. Cool. Okay. If you want me to expand on any of that, let me know.
Awesome.
Siobhán?
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to really, there's so much to talk about and trying to keep it brief so we can get to more questions.
Totally. And I think this is sort of in the same realm from Liliana, who was with us on Saturday night. It's great to see you, Liliana. Thanks for being here. So she's asking about a reasonable rate for an hour of studio time. And I think, Liliana, you can give me a little, like, affirmatives if you mean just in general voiceover recording for kind of any project. Yeah, I mean, this is a big discussion. David, do you want to get into that too?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. It's impossible to say what your rate should be because there are so many different types of voiceover. There are so many different types of voice actors. There are so many different types of clients, and even the same voice actor working with the same client, the script may change drastically, which could require more or less time to get through. And where that script will be heard and used can change drastically. There's no one set fee. I mean, I wish it was that easy. I really do. I wish you guys could all tell your clients, I charge X dollars per hour. Man, that would make it easy for all of you. And honestly, it would make it easier for our casting department, right? So when we hire voice actors, we could just tell or we could think to ourselves, okay, we pay the voice X amount, and therefore, we can pass that information along to a client. But the fact is, there are so many variables. Liliana, it's a good question if you're starting out, but it's like saying, what does it cost? It depends if you cook at home or go out to a restaurant, and what level of quality food you have, and there's just so many variables. I'll give you a range, like one extreme to the other, and then I will refer you to our rate card, which has a lot of more specific information. I think at one end of the spectrum, you should always charge what you think is fair to you. Look at your competition, look what the industry typically these voice actors. But then, like I said, think about what is important to you. What do you value your time at? And don't go under that. Okay, stand up for what you think is right for you. At the other spectrum would be looking at a very what's the expression? Deep-pocketed client. It's not deep-pocketed, rich client. I think deep pockets is the expression. A client with deep pockets, meaning they have lots of disposable money, they probably have very large budgets. Then you should hopefully be able to go way up above what you just think is minimally fair to you, and you should be able to charge more. But again, you need to look at so many variables, as I mentioned a moment ago: the usage, the longevity of the piece, the type of piece, the amount of research, the amount of volume that the client may give you, your background, your experience, how rare or unique is your voice, how much do they need you at that time, how quick does the job need to be turned around. So go to our rate card. There are a bunch of these variables broken down. Um, Siobhán, can you send a link? Can you upload a link to the rate card for everyone?
Yeah, I've actually already dropped in the resource center. The thing is, you have to have a login to access these things. So what I've been doing is just giving you the resource center link, and then if you haven't created a login yet, it's super easy and it won't hurt you. Nothing's gonna come get you for having a login at Edge.
Yeah.
But but that's where you're gonna find the rate card. And and I think, David, everything you're saying makes so much sense. I think, when you're starting out too, I can tell you all, I was in an animated little short film that's coming out next month, that for like a student project in Savannah College of Art and Design. And these are I'm not, I do a lot of things, so I don't actively, voiceover is kind of one of the many things that I do. And this is like an independent project for like a short, animated film. And, you have different kinds of clients, like David is saying. That's a little small independent kind of client, but can be a really good relationship, right? So like if this creator is doing more and more things, then they know that I'm easy to work with, and that I, had a reasonable rate. They didn't need a lot of work from me. It was a decent rate, like worthy, but it was also reasonable, right? And relationships are super important as you're discussing rates with folks too. And I just think, like, especially for newer folks, as you are looking at different kinds of clients and working, it's exactly what David said: independent types versus corporate. You're going to kind of have different conversations with different clients, and be willing to advocate for yourself, and also willing to kind of work with them, and their budget, for what they need.
Yeah, so let me throw in two other notes really quickly. One is, I mentioned to always work within what feels comfortable for you, and that's great. But Siobhán, you touched upon something that we should expand upon, and that is talk about money comfortably, like advocate for yourself. And guys, when you talk about money with a client, please do so comfortably. Okay. It's just a transaction. The client needs you just as much as you need them. Okay. So don't be nervous talking about money. So many voice actors say to me, "Oh man, David, like when it comes time to talk money with the clients, like I shy away. I become nervous. I sweat." Guys, that is no way to conduct business. It's just a transaction, and put yourself into the mindset that that's all it is. Okay. So be comfortable. Let me tell you from our perspective, if our casting department calls a voice actor because a client says, "Hey, I like Liliana's voice," or "I like Siobhan's voice, we'd like to hire them." So then we call Liliana or we call Siobhan and we say, "Hey, we have a client who wants to hire you to record X type of script for X type of usage and so on. What will you charge?" If the voice actor says, if they begin to shy away, "Oh, well, I kind of like to get, like 100. I mean, if the client's okay with it, I usually like to try to get this much money, but I understand that, that's no way to conduct business, guys. Just say, "Hey, thanks so much for contacting me. My rate for that type of job is $100 or whatever." I'm making up. And if the client who calls you doesn't give you the specific information you need to be able to come up with a meaningful, realistic, or practical price, then ask the questions. Say, "Hey, thanks so much for contacting me. I'd love to give you a price. I need to know these four things so I can give you a price that's accurate for what it is that you need." Talk comfortably, guys. Okay. Second thing is, don't give it away. Don't give it away for free. If the client bargains with you, pleads with you, "Please, please, please," stand up for what you think is right. And going back to what Siobhán said, advocate for yourself. Um, there are certainly times to drop your price because maybe there is large volume, or maybe it is a non-for-profit that you personally believe in. I mean, at Edge, we donate voiceover services to a lot of nonprofits. Um, so there are reasons to lower your rate, but when you do so, make sure the client understands why it is that you are lowering your rate. Okay, so you tell a client you want $100 for a job, and then they plead, and cry and pity us. We're a startup business, we don't have the funding, whatever it is. Don't just say, "Oh, fine, I'll do it for $50." Say, you know what? Because you're a startup, and because this is the first time I'm working with you, let me help you out. As long as there can be some volume on the back end, like let them know that your price because of something. Otherwise, they'll always feel like they have the upper hand on you. So again, treat it like a transaction. Talk about money comfortably. Okay, enough said.
Okay, yeah, talk about pearls. We're like already ahead with the pearls. Like that was some good, what do the people say? Church in the chat. I felt like doing that. No, David, that was really awesome and I think super helpful. And the thing I would say to that too is, when you offer things for free, you hurt everybody, right? Like everybody's
Oh,
doing that.
so much so, yeah.
Right. So we all have to like advocate for our rates because we hurt our community when we offer things for free. But I do think if you're looking to get some work under your belt, to David's point as well, donating to charities, to organizations that matter to you and offering your services to them is a great way to get experience for something you believe in and want to support, and then have something to say, here, I voiced this thing that I offer. I mean, I think that's a perfect way because those organizations need you, and this is something material that we can offer that also does help us. So I think, David does, it's a priority of David's at Edge to offer services like that every year. And it's something that I really appreciate and I think is important and a good thing for folks to consider as you're trying to get yourself out there. Hello from Grand Bahama, coming to see you as soon as it's safe, but not yet. Hi, Shad. So welcome. Okay, Luke, I've recently finished my demo with Jay Snyder. Amazing animation. Congratulations. So Luke is asking, what can I do? Maybe if you have a tip, David, for what do you think makes a great audition?
Yeah, Luke, you finished your demo within like the last week or so, is that right? Or 2 weeks most? Is Luke? Yeah. So I listened to every demo, and I remember hearing your demo. I work with the engineer on it, whichever engineer is mixing the demo. I work with them and give my thoughts when the demos are done. And your demo is fabulous, Luke. You're really good. Um, I wonder if there's a way that we can play Luke's demo for everyone. Yeah, it's a minute long or so.
I can cue it up for the
Luke,
30th party.
Luke, why don't if you're comfortable playing it, give us a thumbs up. Okay. Do is have it standing maybe a minute while I answer the question about auditions, and just have it ready to hit play. And we'll play when you do play it, play literally 2 seconds of it and stop, and then we can tell you if we can hear it clearly or not.
So David,
Because if we can't hear it,
yeah, so David, I could share it because I am a host and I can share audio. So that's an option I could do. We could also queue it up for the next session and have it more organized if you wanted to do it that way.
yeah, well, while it's fresh, but I just wouldn't want Luke playing it for a minute long and it all sounds like splatter to us, not coming through
Yeah.
clearly.
So Luke can't play
So,
it, but I can.
oh,
That's
cool. Okay.
that's how it would work. So
Okay.
Luke, if you have a
Okay.
link and you want to send it to me, I can do that, or we can get a link up for next time. I'll chat
In the
with
interim, okay, cool. So let me talk about auditions. What makes for a great audition? A lot of things, but ultimately, now I can summarize it in one way. Make sure you give the client what it is that they need. Actually, I want to rephrase that, everyone. Give the casting team what it is that they're listening for. Okay. It sounds sort of vague, but that's really what this is about. The biggest the biggest error, let me use that word, the biggest error that voice actors make when sending off auditions, by far, is that they think about the audition from their own perspective and not from the perspective of the casting team. The casting team could be an engineer somewhere, it could be the copywriter, it could be an ad agency or a marketing department, it could be the end, it could be an agent, a production company, whoever the client is, or sorry, whoever the casting person is. You need to consider what it is that they're hoping to hear. So voice actors will come to me and say, David, I need some help. Man, like I've just sent off 10 really good auditions. I thought they were great. I really liked the way I read, but I didn't get any of those jobs. But I don't get it. I mean, man, I really like what I did. And I'll say, well, who cares if you like it? Would the client like it? Let's list out, let's look at the script. Let's look at their direction. Let's do 2 minutes of research on the website and look at their company. And let's figure out what kind of voice actor they want, what kind of message, what kind of vocal delivery do they want. And 9 out of 10 times through that quick exercise, the voice actor who I'm working with will say, oh, crap. You're right. They probably wanted an emotion like this, but I gave them an emotion like that. Or they wanted a slower tempo, but man, I gave them a fast tempo. Those are the things that lose voice actors the audition. That's the number one thing. Think about what the casting team needs, and that's what you give it. That's what you give them. Think about it from their perspective.
So the update is that the demo is still in production. It's not fully finished yet.
Oh,
Suspense,
I have heard
thrilling.
it though. I've heard the first mix, and I gave comments to it. And it is fantastic. Okay.
So we currently don't have an existing link, but it is on the horizon. So thank you, Luke. Yeah, that's a great conversation and question. So we do have a kind of, okay, welcome from the UK. So, right, finding your niche. There's some folks asking some sort of questions about, getting started, booking your first job, things like that, David. Do you want to kind of do a preliminary new person? Let's say you have your demo, your website's maybe up, you're just kind of like now trying to get your hustle on. What are some basic tips and advice for getting it going?
Yeah. Organize yourself, guys. Really, really organize yourself and think ahead, because 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road, you're going to thank yourself big time. So let me talk about some things that pop into my mind. One is maintain a database of your clients and any information that may be helpful to you down the road. Think ahead, like I said. So that means you have some sort of database where you can contact the client every 3 months if you don't hear from them. You remember a week after the job to invoice them. You remember 2 weeks after that to thank them. You remember to ask for a copy of the completed mix so you can put it on your website. All of those types of things. If the client happens to mention it's a personal event, like it's their kid's birthday, their dog, it's their anniversary, whatever it is, then jot that stuff down. So next anniversary or whenever next time you talk with them, you can say, "Hey, well, how was the anniversary? How's that new dog of yours?" Um, a lot of this. So I guess I'm thinking out loud here as we go, but a lot of this is make it personal. Okay. Um, so there. Sorry, it's taking me a moment to organize some of my. So one big thing is make the relationships you have with your clients personal and organize yourself with a database. Next thing is continue to train. I think that is apps critical. Take the advanced audition classes that are not expensive. It's only, but man, we go deep into what auditions sound like. The intent is not to be a plug, but rather the intent is like that's going to be helpful, especially if you are new. Take a couple of, 3, 4 of those advanced audition workouts. But never ending, guys. Don't become complacent, because if you become complacent, then next thing you know, a new voice actor jump ahead of you and steal your clients. So stay on top of things, never stop growing. I hope those are a couple of good. Oh, another really important tip is when you get your first job, write down every single thing you can about that job. Write down the microphone you used, the recording settings you used, how far you stood from the microphone. Best have someone take a picture of you at the microphone, because a year down the road, if that client calls you and says, "Hey, we need an update. We need one word re-recorded." That way you can re-record just one word, and it will match when that one word is edited into the previously recorded recording. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so those are just a couple of sort of, I think, top shelf items to think about.
And if you're like freaking out, like, how do I even go about this kind of thing? A session with Tom Deere, our VO strategist, I used to say strategist. He's like, Siobhán, speak the words correctly. So he is really good at helping freelancers and voice actors plan your day, manage your schedule, make sure you've got boundaries for when you're working, when you're not working, and using time efficiently to do things like sourcing clients and contacting them and doing all of the work that David's talking about. It's a lot, but slowly, I've got some full-time VOs here in the house. Slowly it becomes normal, and it's not as overwhelming and terrifying.
Yeah, well, actually, so let's piggyback on that, Siobhán, because that's a great point. Guys, you're building a business, and whether you open up a restaurant or a bookshop or something like that, or an online store, I mean, anything takes dedication and patience, and you have to have dedication and patience. And in this industry, you also have to have thick skin, because you know it's not uncommon to send out 20 auditions until you win one. So don't become angry or disappointed or confused why you don't get one of your first three jobs. It's just, in some ways there's some statistical odds you need to deal with, right? So your voice is not a perfect match for what the client is listening for every single time. Something else to talk about would be that when you don't get a job, even if you think you're great for the job, rather than say, man, maybe I screwed up that audition, maybe just assume that the client was looking for a different type of voice, so you don't come down hard on yourself. But still, I would take that audition. If you have an audition that you think you aced because you've given exactly what it is that the casting team wants, and that happens a few times, then you want to have a session with the coach and say, look, here are the auditions I've had, direction I was given, listen to the recording I sent them, tell me, was it just bad luck? Did I just happen to not be picked? Or am I mucking it up somewhere? And catch that stuff as early as you can. Don't wait until you've spent a year auditioning, and that's ridiculous, right? If you don't get something, at somewhere early on into your efforts, then sit down with the coach, me or someone else, but go through that stuff and figure it out.
And it does. I mean, one of our students, she was amazing at spinning the wheels, and she was attending, in the before times, mixers and networking events and cranking out auditions. And she had recorded 2 demos with us. And it took her almost a year to book her first paid gig. And it's, you're juggling multiple things. You're working other jobs, of course, while you're getting into voiceover. You have to have income streams somehow. So it's a process. And we've told many students of like, spinning the wheels is the name of the game. And as David said, like, not giving up or beating yourself up, because if they're not looking for your kind of voice, it's not about you. And you can just, let it go. And there are things that are looking for you. What is it? Is it Rumi? It's Rumi, right? What you seek is seeking you. So that's my
Yeah,
little.
and it's just like celebrities. So often when you hear celebrity interviews, they say, "Yeah, I spent 7 years, drudging auditions and not winning anything, and now they're some big Emmy Award winner." I mean, it happens. There are certainly some voice actors who, from day one, are booked back to back, and then there are some who are equally as talented, who it takes a year to get going. So again, maintain that dedication, everyone. Don't become complacent. Keep working. Work with a coach who can help you along the way. Stay focused. Here's what I can say: the work is absolutely out there, without question. There is more than ample work to go around, and at Edge, we know thousands. I mean, without exaggeration, thousands of voice actors who do this on a professional level. I mean, there's a lot of work, so it will happen if you are dedicated and you do it right. It can happen.
Yes. And I want to shout to my people all over the place. Hello, Liz from Cleveland, Troy from Ontario, Luke is in Michigan. We got Victoria. Hi, Susan. And then, okay, so Brian is asking, this is such an interesting question because a lot of people are really interested in it. David, what are you seeing in terms of trends in non-union VO work sourcing? Is it moving more to pay to play sites or online casting sites, or are creative agencies keeping in-house?
Um, quickly trying to organize my thoughts on this one. It's a sort of a multi-tiered answer I'm going to give. It's a great question. You mentioned a few people are asking that particular question. So um, the non-union world is really growing. I would estimate, this is a personal estimate, but because I've never seen an official number on this, but I feel that the non-union work is growing faster percentage than union work. And non-union work seems to be growing in every conceivable genre, from commercial through narration and animation through audiobook. So, and I don't say that to mean that if you are in the union, then you should bail ship, because there's certainly a lot of union work as well. And there are advantages of being in the union, many advantages. There are also advantages of being a non-union voice actor. So certainly the non-union voice actor has a lot of opportunities, and that's growing day by day. Trends, I don't think any of there's nothing new, I think, in terms of vocal delivery. The vocal delivery that's been out for the past, the number one and number two types of vocal delivery that's been out for the past decade or so, continue to really sort of overwhelm the market. The natural conversational style of voice actor, rather than like a hard sell announcer. There are certain genres which are growing faster than other genres. Internet audio is huge right now. I mean, think about it, guys. If you watch a YouTube video, you really can't watch it without first having to watch a commercial, right? A YouTube commercial. So those are very popular right now. Narrated apps are growing exponentially right now. Video games, a lot of these new media and tech type of voice acting jobs are appearing faster than anything else. But at the same time, corporate work has always been one of the largest sectors in the industry, or one of the largest genres, and still is. It's still huge and growing. Same with e-learning. E-learning is possibly even outpacing corporate work, but guys, these are huge, huge opportunities of work, e-learning and the corporate world. Um, there was one other thing, Siobhán, there was one other part of that question, and I don't recall what it was. I'm sorry. What was it though?
I think, Brian, do you feel, I love Brian. It's great to see you, Brian. I'm so glad you're here. Brian, do you feel that that was answered? Did you have more parts that you need? Are you
I
in the
feel like, yeah, like you said something else, Siobhán, that I wanted to respond to, and I don't remember what it was.
I'm almighty, so
I
I'm
hate
gonna
to show
unmute.
my lack of memory in front of all these people, but hey, it is what it is. I can't rewind.
No, I think that answers everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks. It's great to see you, Brian. I'm a big fan of Brian's, and I actually, in my social media class, I talk about how Brian is great on the Twitter. I'm like, we're gonna talk about your Twitter, Brian, because you're a good person. Okay, so he's so supportive of other people. He's always boosting people up. It's beautiful to see. David, I wanted to tell you that KH told us in the chat that one of their coaches did not get the job because his voice reminded the client of her ex-husband. So I just wanted to boost that so that everybody just knows the deal out here, which is really something. Okay, now I'm scrolling back up. Ooh, I want to go to Danielle because I love this question. We actually haven't ever had it. Danielle is saying—
Whoa, sorry, Siobhán.
Yeah.
I know voice actors who have not gotten jobs because of their political view. I know voice actors who have not gotten jobs for a ton of different reasons. And for this reason, let me piggyback to one of the earlier questions about some things to do as a newcomer. Keep politics out of it, guys. The voiceover community is almost completely democratic. Okay. I'd venture to guess it's 95%, but I'm not making this a political conversation. Thing is, don't make anything a political conversation. Just because this community generally runs in one direction, okay, it does. Your client is feeling the same way. So if you get on the call and you think, oh yeah, this agency seems, they seem like they're probably Democrat, Republican, or whatever, and so I'll chat them up. You might be wrong. Keep non-voiceover stuff out of it. Okay, you start talking about dogs, well, maybe they were just bit by a dog. So anyway, you never know. Stick to voiceover.
You really don't know. Johnny Heller being the person who rages on Twitter is not the prime example of that into practice, but He's been in this industry for quite some time. He's not really hurting.
Known now, right? He's known. Once you're established, you can, get away with a lot more. But when you're new, not so much.
Yeah, when you're new, it's peace signs to all the people. This is very good and important advice. And safe spaces for all, indeed. So Danielle is saying, asking David for tips for nerves for people that don't like to be in front of a camera. I cannot stop laughing when I'm nervous. So I bombed a commercial copy read in front of a panel of talent agents. Very embarrassing. What do you think, David?
Yeah, well, I think the good news is I can't think of any auditions which happen live anymore, like in front of someone where they see you. I mean, that is so rare these days. It used to be so common, but probably 99% of auditions are done online. And by the way, that was the other part of that question before, Siobhán. They'd asked about if the work is coming from, you said, pay to plays or online sites. That was the other part of the question. I couldn't remember, and now it's coming back. Anyway, so to answer some tips here, look, if you're nervous, you're going to be nervous, right? And when someone tells you, or even if you tell yourself, don't be nervous, it's sort of hard to just not be nervous, because sometimes the more you think about it, the more nervous you become. Then you start becoming nervous that, well, maybe you actually sound nervous, right? Or appear nervous. So I actually have a list of things that I have a list, no surprise, one of my many lists, on ways to hide your nerves. There are vocal things you can do to really make it sound like you're calm. I'll tell you some of them right now. Just the bigger ones would be, make sure when you speak, you lower your pitch, because when people are nervous, they tend to raise their pitch a lot. Make sure you stay at a regular, natural speaking pace, because when people are nervous, obviously they typically tend to speak more quickly. Make sure you start in a cold room so you don't start sweating if the client's going to see you, right? It's a great trick. It's weird, but it works. Anyway, there are things you can do. But I think the most important thing in this industry, because it's a vocal industry, is to trust your natural voice. Okay. If you think you're nervous at any point in your voiceover day, then write this down and make it your mantra. Write down, trust my voice, trust my natural voice. When you read a script, use your natural voice. Okay. There's no need, unless you're doing animation characters, video game characters, or whatever, just use your natural voice, guys. Okay. And trust it, and assume that that's what the client wants to hire. They are hiring you because they like your voice. So do remember that. But like I said, it's hard to get rid of nerves. So, and if you have an audition and you sound nervous or you feel nervous, then record it 20 times. And if the client is on the line with you, well, then practice and have a coach on the line with you. And, if you get good at that, then call upon 10 of your friends to do a Zoom call with you and do an audition in front of them if you have to. So do what you have to do.
I really appreciate all of this. And Danielle, thanks for the vulnerability. I think people need to hear it. I have done a number of back in the before times in studio auditions. There might be just drastically less of those in the after times, perhaps, but I certainly have felt crazy nervous, especially when I've been seeing coaches, voice actors who I know are like big deals, like who are doing the same audition that I'm doing in New York. And I felt kind of like, what am I doing here? And I think it's like really easy to happen to you. And all of David's advice so good. And someone else put in the chat, Kelsey, just breathe. Like you need to take a deep inhale and an exhale, and then go trust yourself. This is also just like life advice too. I feel like we're doing like life coaching at the same time. But yeah, anytime that you have that anxiety, it's a great reminder to take an inhale, exhale, and find your voice there. It's really,
sort of opening up here. I've done, I think it is now 62 different speaking engagements, and they have ranged from small rooms as maybe 20 or 25 people through the largest so far is about 750. And that was live on a stage. And I've had a lot of ton of them, live presentations in front of 400 people, 600 people. And for the first, I don't know, 20 times I spoke, right before I spoke, man, I was nervous. Holy cow. And that's where I actually came up with the idea of freezing my my room before walking on stage. So typically at these conferences, they're at hotels, so I have a room. I'm weird. I keep my thermostat at like 82 degrees. That's where I generally run comfortable. And I've met a few other people like me. My wife can't stand it. My kids can't stand it. But I like it at 82. At 82, I will turn the thing down, the thermostat down to like 62, which is for like 40 degrees for the average person. I will freeze my ass off before I walk out. And it really helped me. I think maybe it just slowed my blood down and lowered my voice. And but anyway, I was really nervous a whole bunch of times. And finally one day I said, you know, on top of everything else, screw it. I'll just trust myself. I am what I am. I have to be me. They're hiring me because I think they like what I'm about to say or what I might be able to say. And once I took that attitude, it made a big difference. So if you are nervous, try that. I hope it works for you. And just because it works for me doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you, which is why I give you those tips on how to sort of disguise your nerves, right? By lowering your pitch, speaking more slowly, and freezing your rear end off. So, and when you're at the booth, sit on ice, do what you have to do.
Sitting on ice. No, I think sweating definitely, you start to feel self-conscious when you're,
Yeah, you do.
it's so much. So jumping over to some home studio. Yeah, so Donald is talking about how it's frequently recommended to test various microphones to find which one is best for you, which is great. We always talk about how we're not going to tell you which microphone to get because we don't know what works for you.
It's not always great.
Yeah, but you know, Donald is asking where and how, and you know, without actually purchasing one after another, how do you test these, especially in the modern world?
Yeah. So, look, ultimately, you need to find a microphone that is right for you. So, first, let me say, guys, that if you're purchasing a microphone, do not ask any other voice actor what microphone they think is good for you, because the microphone that is good for them has absolutely nothing or very, very little to do with you. It's like buying jeans. It's been the analogy I've used for years. Just if I said to my friend, hey, I need to buy a pair of jeans, what size, style, type do you wear? Well, the brand they wear and the size they wear may not fit me well, right? Now, there's certainly that thing called one size fits all, but I like to say that one size, even though it's true, maybe one size fits all, it doesn't necessarily look good on everyone, right? To get the best fitting jeans, you need to find jeans that work to you or work best for you. And same with microphones. You purchase a microphone based upon the qualities of your voice, upon the based upon the acoustics of your recording area. You take into consideration the genres of voiceover that you will be recording. So there are some really important factors to consider. Once you know the microphones that work within those variables, yeah, it's ideal, definitely ideal to be able to try out all of the microphones that fit that style, that those levels. But if you go down to your music recording store where they sell drums and guitars, and you put on headphones and you listen to all of those microphones, it's sort of meaningless for a couple of reasons. The acoustics there at the music store don't sound like the acoustics of your home studio. So of testing the microphone there is virtually pointless. Second thing, unless you know what to listen for, like a true experienced engineer, then there's zero point in testing microphones. So I think the best thing to do is run a program with like sweetwater.com or any of these large companies, large music retailer companies that will sell a bunch of different microphones. Um, so, they send you a bunch of microphones and you try them all out. You pick the one that's for you and you send the others back, and you're only charged for the one. And then what you do is you first tell the salesperson at the music retailer shop, like .com, look, I have this type of voice. My recording booth is really dry. I want to record commercials or audiobooks, and they help you figure out the variables. And then they say, oh, and you tell them your budget and everything like that. And they say, yeah, there's 6 microphones that could be good. They send you those microphones. Well, then you do a recording where you record into each of those 6 microphones, and then you send that recording to an engineer who is experienced enough to be able to say, yeah, the second microphone, whichever one that was, whatever your second microphone was, that's the one that you should be using. That is clearly the best, and that's the way you test a microphone. And then you keep that microphone, you pay for it, you send the others back to the music retailer. So it's a process, guys. It's definitely more process than just going down to your like Best Buy and purchasing a microphone. But this is a career. Get the microphone that's right for you. So it's really, really important to do that.
Yes, I think process is like the name of the game with like every aspect of the things we've talked about today. And that if you feel frustrated with the time that it's taking, you're gonna have to find a way to let that go.
But this is still way less work than opening up a retail shop or a restaurant. I mean, you don't need licenses, you don't need real estate, you don't need stock. This is way less. Yeah, there's still work, right? With anything, there's work, but it's way less work, guys. So just do it the right way.
I know.
And you'll be more successful. I promise you, you will be way more successful if you do things the right way and let it take more time than do things the wrong way and try to rush it. Okay. That's a guaranteed on that.
I have a friend who owns a bar in New York, and he said to really actually make a profit, you have to own two. And I was just like, that sounds hard. That's some hard work. I'm going to pop in one more question here from Tom, who's asking, what questions do you ask when shopping for a coach? I had a session, not from Edge, where the coach wanted to give every line a reading just to hear themselves, and it was a waste of time. Yeah, we don't love that. David, what do folks need to consider when they're looking for a coach?
I think there are a lot of things to consider. I'll try to think of the top ones. I think the top items would be, certainly there's a personality that is nice if it's established, but that's not the most important thing. It's like having a doctor with good bedside manner. I mean, that's nice and all, but really you want a doctor who can better diagnose your ailment, right? Who can better physically take care of you. That's more important. So I think it's more important to find a coach who has who has the teaching skills to help you rather than just their personality. Um, but again, it's nice if there's a personality connection. May make you more open. Um, Let me think of what would be really, really important. Oh, well, certainly find a coach who understands, who truly, truly understands the genre or genres that you want to work within. So if you want to work in commercials, I would not suggest working with a coach who specializes in narration because they are different, right? They're very different styles of read. So again, find a coach who really understands, who lives and breathes the genre that you want to work in, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why we have 25 coaches now at Edge. We just brought on someone else. A lot of those coaches specialize in a genre, one particular genre or two particular genres. And then we have some coaches who sort of have like a general comprehension of the entire industry. I think that's where I fall in. Like, I mean, I've been at this for 33 years now, and I've worked with all of these great coaches and voice actors over the years. So I probably know more than most coaches in each genre. I don't say that in like some, I don't know, like what's the word? Uh, Trying to show off way. I can't think of the right word, but I mean, I know a lot, but I don't specialize in any one genre. I certainly don't. I think, I know a lot about a lot of different genres. I tend to be the coach at Edge who can help provide path, guidance, figure things out, make lists of things. Let me try to think of one other thing that's really important with a coach. Oh, I have one. Make sure the coach you work with teaches you rather than directs you. In fact, this is a great one to leave you on because most coaches I've ever come in contact with outside of Edge, in fact, and the coaches at Edge, I personally coach on making sure they do this. They have to coach you rather than direct you. So, in other words, if you are reading a script for a coach and they say, yeah, good read. Can you read that first line faster? Okay, so maybe you can read it faster, but that doesn't teach you. That's like a client telling you to read a line faster. You need a coach who can say, hey, so great read. the first line was a bit on the slow side. And one of the reasons why it should be faster is because clients of this type like that first line to be faster for this reason. So anytime you come across a script like this, then think about reading that line faster. In other words, they're teaching you how to prepare for future scripts. That was not the best example, but hopefully you get the idea. There's a big difference between teaching someone and directing someone. And you need a coach who teaches rather than one who directs.
And just to pitch for Edge Studio, one of the things that we offer here at Edge is like, if you're looking to find a coach, we'll hop on the phone with you in our education department and talk to you about where you are in your voiceover journey, what you're working towards, what your goals are. And because we have so many coaches, we will work to match you with someone who we think will suit you based on your needs. I know I can say for myself with my narration coach, Danielle Quisenberry, I initially brought copy into her for my demo that I liked. And she was like, cool, I like this copy too. You're not going to get hired for this kind of gig. That your voice is not going to work for that. They're not looking for you to do these kinds of museum tours and these kind, and she was like, she really helped me find what my strengths are in the narration world because of my voice. It doesn't, we got copy that I really enjoyed, but the realm of things that you like is not necessarily what you'll be booked for within the genre that you're studying in. And having a coach who will look at you and say, hey, I understand you're excited about this, but this is not, you will not book. That's a really valuable asset to find. And so I would say to think of things like that. And then lastly, yes, Todd, Danielle is such a good coach. DQ, yes, John. Yeah, she's incredible. And so I think too, being super vulnerable, sometimes finding a coach in life, it's like finding a therapist where you're like talking to somebody and you're like, man, this does not work for me. I got to switch it up. Right. And that's also, again, part of the process, particularly if you're going to a space where, one coach is like running their own business operation and you're kind of looking to them as opposed to a larger space for like Edge, where we kind of set you up with someone. So just think about those things.
Well, the other side to that is making sure the coach is straightforward with you. Right. Honest with you, gives you honest feedback, because that's what you guys need to be able to improve. You need honest feedback. And so you don't want to coach sugarcoating what they tell you, or being afraid to say, well, that wasn't really what I meant. Let's listen to it and teach your, make sure you, I help your ears hear how to learn what it is that you did, so you can do this on your own. In fact, they need to be able to teach you in a way that you can take what they teach you and bring it to your own microphone. So yeah, you need that coach to be honest, candid, frank with you, but in a friendly way, of course. Anyway, thanks, Siobhán. You guys had great questions this Ask Me Anything episode, number 29.
I feel like 29 was a strong number. Yes, Jessica, Danielle Quisenberry is her name. Susan, DQ, Demo Queen. Okay, we love to see this. This is wonderful. Everyone, thank you for your time and energy. And oh my gosh, yeah, Susan, I love the plants in your background. I'm really trying to raise plants. I'm afraid of killing them. So everybody, Jennifer Sims, yes, Nicole, she'll be at our AMA next week. If you're coming,
no, not in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yes, in 2 weeks, we have another Ask Me Anything, which will feature Jennifer Sims for our 30th party, and she is a ham, so that will be great. If you're coming to the Mixer tonight, I'm so looking forward to seeing you there. I will be doing a costume change, of course, so looking forward to that. Once again, I'll drop these links for the wonderful things we have coming up, including our private coaching sessions, my social media class. Cleon, the Mixer got booked up, but hopefully it'll go well. It's a prototype tonight. It's our first digital event. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to offer more of these in the future. And if you're on our mailing list, you will get heads up about them. Thank you everyone yes, Susan, it's great to see you. Liz, thanks for being here. And we'll be back. Time just like propels forward. It's like a wild thing. But so, gosh, today is the 29th. 29 on 29, David? That's really
nice.
Okay. We like that. So, all right, next week we are not here, and we're back on the 13th of May, just before the new tax day. Tax day we got double tax day this year. So May 13th, we'll be back with Jen Sims. And you all are really fabulous people. It's great to see you again. The recording will be posted on Saturday, so look out for that. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Alexis. Thanks, Nicole and Sheila. Great to see you. Kyle, I still think you look great in your square. Everyone, I appreciate you so much. It's 11:01. Okay. Mwah. Have a great, great day. See some of you tonight. Bye.